Hello, everybody. Dangerous Freedom here, and I would like to welcome back an old friend of the channels, Cheshire Cat. Cheshire, would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Dangerous Freedom here, and I would like.
Whoops.
That's all right. It'll take a minute for people to get in here. We got Margot in here. I guess she's got a granddaughter that just went through some surgery. I guess she had some scarring on her in her throat, and she only had about one quarter of her airway open. So they're trying to fix that. So we all pray.
I'm sorry to hear that. We'll definitely have to pray for her speed, or say prayer for her speedy recovery.
Rastard, what's going on, brother? So you still don't have any mask mandates in your area?
We do have mask mandates in my area. It's been extended to, I think, November the 27th. It's only in certain counties. What I can't get over are some of the signs in the windows of some of the local establishments that say that if you don't wear a mask, they'll get law enforcement involved, which is just a little Stasi-like for my taste.
Yeah, I was thinking on something like that. It's like they can ask you to leave, and then if you don't leave, then it's trespassing. But I mean, it's the same thing with like carrying a gun.
Mm-hmm.
If you carry a gun in there, you're legally permitted to carry a gun, and they say, we don't want you to carry a gun in here, then all right, fine. Then that's stupid, though.
Right.
Have you seen some of these videos of the people that are out there, like shouting down people that aren't wearing masks?
I mean, I saw some of those many months ago, but again, I haven't really been paying too much attention of what's been going on out there. Just like I said, I haven't really had the time or the energy for it lately.
Hey, welcome, Lone Star. Been a while. Just passing through. Good to see you. Michael Lowe. Yeah, we're up against Donald Trump for views tonight. I hate that air. Oh, reliable. Yeah, we're getting some people in here now. So you heard that Trump caught the COVID, right?
I did hear that.
And he's already better, and he's like, it's still a hoax.
Well, it doesn't seem like it was as serious as everybody was saying that it was. If a 75-year-old man ended up walking away from COVID-19 infection perfectly unscathed.
Detroit prepping, what's going on, my brother? The foam. More. That's funny you said that, foam, because I guess Biden came down here to Arizona, and there's like 3 or 4 people that showed up, and he had the media and like 3 or 4 people. Like seriously, the street was bare, the news was out there, and there was no traffic, no people standing in line. It was just, geez. And if you watch the polls, they're all like, oh no, he's above Trump by like 10 points or some crap, and it's just like, okay, yeah, well, didn't they say the same thing about Hillary? Yeah, it's all crap. So you ain't got anything to talk about necessarily?
Nope, not really.
Hey, Miss Mary. Christy.
I'll just
All right. Well,
say,
we're still waiting on a few people to get in here.
I might as well just say hello to some people. It's been really a long time seeing everybody. You got Margot. Hello. See? Just passing through. Hello. Um,
What about Hunter Biden?
it's Miss Mary. So yeah, there's a bunch of people. Detroit Preppin. It's been a good second since I've seen him, and yeah, I gotta be honest, I kind of missed you guys.
Okay, I can. You gotta keep in mind, Cheshire has been kind of out of the loop because she works and doesn't want to follow politics, which I don't blame her a bit. But
Well, it's honestly emotionally and it's mentally exhausting. And I at this point, with the way that things have deteriorated, I just simply don't see the point of it anymore. It's not doing anything for me. I don't think it's doing anything for anybody. Things have just completely gone off the rails, out of control, and you've got people that are, it's just turned into absolute and utter madness. And so, to tell you the truth, the best thing that I've done for myself is just get disconnected from it.
yeah,
I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I don't want to do it anymore.
actually,
And the only thing that I have the power to do as an individual is really to, the best thing that I can do is work hard, spend as much time as I possibly can on the positive endeavors that I do have control over, spend quality time with family and friends, people who love me and people I love, and just do my best to be the best person that I can possibly be individually on the ground and interpersonally, from person to person, to the people that I meet at the grocery store, to the people that I work with, reconnecting and solidifying my relationships with my family and my close friends. And it's really the best that I can do. And I just don't, just being stuck in the political arena and paying such close attention to it, it just does nothing but stress me out. It turns me into a person that I don't really want to be. It makes me feel in a way that I don't think I deserve to feel. I don't think it's constructive anymore. And I don't have the desire to follow it. And I'm prepared. I know what's going on. I know what's what. I know what decisions I'm going to make, and I know what moves I'm going to make. I'm spending time at the range.
nice.
Yeah. So I'm in the gun range weekly. I am keeping everything prepped up. I'm keeping myself prepared. I'm keeping my eyes open locally and doing what I can locally. I think it's the best anybody can do. So I'm just using my head and my heart. I'll be all right.
That's
Oh, and another thing is I have definitely renewed my faith. Actually, my faith isn't renewed. I found my faith. So I'm actually looking at being baptized and completing my conversion to Christianity. So there's better things to do than to keep my head in this negativity. There's more beautiful things to look at.
Hola, bienvenidos, señor.
Bienvenue. Bienvenue, mon ami.
Sí.
Sean Penn or Sean Pine, thank you.
How's it going, Gray?
Hola, mis hermanos.
Wait, we are still in America, right? Depends on where you live in America.
Estamos americanos, pero muchas gentes hablan español ahora. ¿Verdad, hermano?
Poquito. I know most cuss words, and I know a lot of construction terms. Other than that, I don't speak much Spanish.
Ah, bien.
But
So how,
that's good. That's
yeah,
really good to hear, Cheshire. I mean, getting into the prepping and everything. I mean, I like when I go over to my family's house, the first thing I do is I check out their pantries and and like well, my sister in particular asked me to pick her up a few more boxes of 9 mil, 4 boxes, $125.
Mhm.
Whereas 6 months ago, I could have picked that up for about 40.
quite a feat to even find such a thing.
Ammo Seek is where I went. And a lot of people swear by it. And I'll tell you what, they had fast shipping too. I ordered it on a weekend and it came before the next weekend. So you can order beer and tacos in Spanish.
I could definitely easily order food, beer and tacos, whatever in Spanish. So I'm fluent enough in Spanish that I'm conversational at least.
Can speak Canadian.
I speak hosiery.
Hmm. I'm telling you guys out in the chat, if you're having a hard time finding ammo, go online and, like I said, go to Ammo Seek, and they'll list the prices, and they've got a huge list. I mean, the ones I got are the Wolf, the Russian steel case. They were the cheapest in there, but they're 115 grain ball ammo, about 49 cents a round.
I make my own now.
Yeah, right. It's a smart way to go.
I even make my own primers.
Really? Wow.
Mm.
That's impressive.
However, I can only make them for 147 grain Magnum 9mm.
That's crazy.
Well, Magnum is subsonic too. Quieter. Heavier.
It sounds like Brass Tart does too.
Well, I make a little something called screwdrivers. Brandy knows what those are.
Yeah,
They tend to negate armor.
Okay. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of the 12 gauge rounds from different places, mostly friends. But and Cassie, was. Alcoholic screwdrivers, they're gray.
Just water, my friend.
I think he was talking about your primers. You call them the screwdriver.
All I can make is 9mm Magnums now.
I don't even think I'm familiar with 9mm Magnum. Do you have to have a special barrel or
Just special cases. And a plus P barrel.
Wow.
Because I pack these babies at 5 grain. Five grain Winchester WSR.
Plus P? Yeah.
Well, they're technically not plus Ps, but they are Magnums being 147 grain warheads. They pack 357 power.
Oh, nice. Wow. Holy crap. Christy, that's actually a smart idea, because you'd be surprised here if we don't see something happen with the ammo shortage soon. I mean, we're starting to see a lot more people that reload. So even if you have expended brass, don't get rid of it, man. Somebody will take it, reload it for you, give you a great discount sometimes.
Oh, I engrave every case too. It takes a lot of work, but they're worth the work. They're special.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Gray, do you think anything's going to come from this whole Hunter Biden situation?
It certainly is a scandal.
Yeah,
It's
must be.
precarious.
But what I'm most impressed about is just God, Hunter Biden is a sloppy idiot.
To say the least. Dude, like they've got to hop him up on something before.
Yeah. Didn't he hand his computer over to a computer repair shop with all of the evidence on it?
And then like 2 hours, 3 hours after it started mainstream news, I guess the lawyer, Hunter Biden's lawyer, is like, "Hey, we need that laptop back." And it's like, "Yeah, it's too late. I already got rid of it."
What a moron! Oh man, I guess that's what happens when you're, committing high crimes and treason when you're hopped up on crack.
Yeah, really. Did you see the pictures of him literally like passed out with a fucking crack pipe in his mouth?
Well, these kinds of scandals, Aircraft Sparky, hey, what's up? Aircraft Sparky says, what's funny is they kept it under wraps for this long. No, they didn't. They ignored it because Biden was very vocal about the fact that he had, literally withheld funds from Ukraine unless they dropped the investigation against Hunter. So they just swept it under the rug. They just can't. It basically what happened is they swept it under the rug and now it's just rotting and the stink is so out of control that they have to address it.
I wonder, do you think that's going to be grounds for them to dismiss Biden as the presidential candidate?
You know what?
I'll say this much.
Go ahead.
Go on, Ray.
It's so corrupt now that there's no telling what's going on.
Called the 25th Amendment. If you're not familiar with it, have a little read.
Let's pull up the 25th Amendment for everybody.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, go ahead and do it. Screen share it.
Oh, okay, all right. I see where you're going with this already. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll let me screen share it really.
Not only that, the more extended version of the 14th Amendment.
Presidential disability and secession.
Well, I think they were probably going to unveil this after they were able to gerrymander Biden into office to use the excuse to remove him so that Kamala could take his place.
Notice the date, February 10th, 1967. Essentially right after they added the 45 goals of a communist secession.
Mm-hmm.
The archives.
Wow.
It was added after that was added to the archives.
But again,
will be detected.
So is this the same thing that Nancy Pelosi was thinking about using in case they're like, oh well, we don't know who's going to be president because we're still collecting votes. By January, come on. Like seriously, I mean, is there any chance that they could actually take that long to figure out who the president is?
Maybe.
Could be.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just kind of a sneaking suspicion that they were going to pull this out once, again, they jerry-rigged the elections for Biden to get in, and then they were going to use that to remove him and place Kamala Harris in office. But this kind of just ended up surfacing a little bit earlier because of Hunter Biden's stupidity.
And from what I understand, that those emails that he's got on there totally implicates his dad too, because his dad's like, "Oh, I never had any clue what was going on over there."
His dad had every clue of what was going on. As a matter of fact, his dad probably pulled the strings.
Yeah, Sparky, no doubt. They did drag the Russia hoax for 3 years. What a piece of crap.
Who else is waiting to come in but is still not in yet?
What's going on, Matt? Good to see you, brother.
So is Sparky waiting to come in the stream?
Yeah, Sparky, are you
no, he's actually on vacation. He is on a layover right now. He's just texting from his phone, I'm guessing.
Oh, that's just a lame excuse, Sparky. You just don't want to hang out with us. It's okay.
Gray, have you met Matt yet? I guarantee you and Matt will get along well, because you guys are both reloaders.
We just probably know each other by another name.
Maybe. Oh yeah, okay, you have met. Yeah, okay. Great, I know. Right?
Yeah, Gray. It's a pretty nice look. I do.
Yeah, you almost like that robot from Westworld.
Except more intimidating.
Yeah, a little bit more. Must be the glasses.
Oh, they're polarized in a special way.
So you could see the enemy coming.
It's a nice thing about expensive custom gear.
Oh, so for everybody in the chat, if you're wondering where Patriot is, he is out hunting. He's at his deer camp. So everybody wish him well, and I hope he bags his limit.
I hope he bags enough venison to get him through the winter.
Yeah, right. You gonna be soon? Cool. Hunting for Hunter. No.
Hunting for Hunter.
He's hunting for Bambi.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen his background, but on one side of his shed there, he's got a hook up there. It looks like a coat hanger almost. And I asked him once, I was like, "Is that your garage pole?" Like the whole Bubba, whatever his name was, that NASCAR driver. And he's like, "No, that's my hook, so I can hang up, my catch and skin it." So I'll be curious to see if we get some of that video footage. Matt, no, you know what? He's so far out right now. He like literally has to like take his 4-wheeler out to a spot where he can even get signal. So, yeah. I mean, you can leave him a text and he'll probably respond back when he gets a chance. But yeah, out there it's like, yeah, it's like the old west, old wild. No cell towers out there. Wow. 7 of them. God, that must take some time, Mike. I can't imagine trying to clean 7 deer. Just one deer would probably take me an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I mean, you have to get out the sawzall.
Nah, just the heat gun.
Just a what?
Heat gun does nice for releasing joints.
Really?
Try it sometime.
Oh, yeah, just passing through. Yeah, the town hall. Because I dry fire train a lot because unfortunately down here in Arizona, our open ranges are all closed. Hey, what's going on, Pete the Patriot? Good to see you, brother. But yes, she was pissing me off, dude. The way she was snarky with Trump, the president, and just, uh, she was a horrible, horrible narrator, or whatever you call them, narrator, navigator. But the thing is, though, even as horrible as she was, Trump stuck to his guns, and then when he tried to finish explaining something, she'd be like, "Oh, we got to get to the next question," like typical. And he's like, "But no, you got to hear me out. It's like I'm the president of the United States. Hear me out here. There's a lot of people listening. What's going on, New York? Good to see you, brother." Um, yeah, geez, I started watching some of Biden's town hall, and it's just the double standards they have for these people. You know, they're trying to grill Trump, while at the same time they're trying to like pat Joe Biden on the back there and be like, "Oh, you're doing a good job there, old man." And it's like, dude, Biden is well beyond his years. And like, seriously, I don't even know why they used him to run. Oh, other than he's a established name.
Hey,
But
Ronald, that's your archery skills.
well, what they don't understand is in 2015 and 16, the reason we voted for Trump is because we're tired of the establishment, and they're not learning a lesson. They're idiots.
It's not that they're idiots; it's that they're consciously trying to run the country into the ground.
That's true. I mean, they are hiring these different groups like Antifa and BLM, and well funded.
They're not doing it because they're idiots. They're doing it because the United States is the last bastion of freedom in the world. Freedom dies here; it dies all over the world.
True.
That's why they're doing it. It's time to start giving the devil its due.
Well, let's start with some high velocity lead.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be a shooting war like I said many months ago. It's an ideological war. It's also a spiritual war.
Mind war.
That's true. Yeah, if you can't deal with that one liberal moderator, then he would never be able to deal with Putin or Kim or any of them. Yeah.
New York outcast. She's not playing around. I'm not.
Nope. She's out there getting training and practicing and preparing.
Lone Star Preps. The devil has won more than the Christians have won, unfortunately. And that's because a lot of the Christians have lost their faith.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Maybe you should look within and answer that question within yourself.
Yeah. Yes, Matt Cheshire is awesome. And you've
Matt,
got
thank you.
You've got a very good point. Yeah, there's a new song out by Struggle Jennings. It's Waylon's grandson, and it's called "God We Need You Now." And I mean, I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get copyright or anything. But if you think to go check it out. Listen to it, and you know, I mean, he just spits the truth. And I mean, like one point, he's all like, you know, I'm gonna resist, and then I'll pray for forgiveness. You know, it's like, and just the way they're pushing us. They're pushing us into a corner. They're trying to remove God from everything. And our nation was founded on Christian beliefs. Despite what anybody else says, we were founded on Christian beliefs. And they have upheld and kept this country going for so long. But the more they remove those beliefs and people that do believe, yeah, it's just going downhill. It's like a toilet being flushed. You know, now it's like, okay, being Christian is bad, but if you're a Muslim, then everything is fine. And it's like, okay, being Muslim is fine if you live in the Middle East. Don't come here and try and change America's values because you come from a different area. You come here to assimilate with our values. And I just, yeah, it's a divide and conquer tactic. I agree. But yeah, they spout evil as the truth. Very good, Christy. Yeah, what's up, kids?
Hey, Ron, when's the last time you used one of these?
Oh my God, crossbow? 10, 15 years ago, probably.
Oh, that's not a crossbow, brother.
Oh, you know what? I think I had one when I was like 10, but it wasn't quite that nice. Guessing this is a shirt for you.
You know what? This is the first time that I've ever shown my image on a live stream.
This is more interesting than your regular crossbow.
What do we got here? Oh, this is this is too sweet. This is too sweet. Hold on, let me get this thing open. My kids just got this. I don't know who sent this to me. Oh no. I remember I bought this about 2 weeks ago. It's a new shirt.
We the people.
Interesting enough, I've taken javelina with this very same bow.
Very nice. If you guys talk amongst yourselves, I'm going to change really quick.
But yeah, the way I look at it is you can take a wild boar with a bow, and you got something going on.
Wonder what it takes to actually make decent projectiles for the longbow.
Well, I'm a blacksmith. I know a thing or two about it.
It might be a last resort if ammo runs out. People training secondarily on longbow.
Could be. Never hurts.
You can actually make projectiles out of wood, really. You can't outlaw that.
You'd be surprised how quiet they are too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my buddy Matt over there is really skilled with 12 gauge. So like I guess if we ever have like a ghost problem, just send him a bunch of rock salt. And actually, you know, somebody once said that, you know, if you're gonna use a 12 gauge, you know, put like rock salt in the first one, and then birdshot in the next, and then buckshot, and then a slug. And I'm like, nah, maybe, but I like to stay uniform, you know. I just start off with buckshot, and I'll just keep going with buckshot. You know, why use less lethal? You know, because we've all seen what less lethal gets you. like Joe Biden, he came out and he's like, well, these cops need to quit shooting to kill people and they need to start shooting for their legs. And it's just like, dude, like seriously, have you ever been on a real practice where you're trying to shoot a moving target? Yeah, good luck trying to shoot the legs.
Yeah, didn't Biden also say that we needed to have more international intercourse?
You think you've been hit with deer heads or honey badgers, which is a particular type of head for an arrow?
Yeah, go buy a shotgun, right? Yeah, go buy a shotgun, Biden. All you need is a shotgun. Number 4, and then a slug. Yeah. Oh yeah, Michael Lowe. That's funny that you say that because that reminds me of Kyle Rittenhouse when he was attacked and he disarmed that guy, like literally. Hey, PDX Scout, and it's been a hot minute since you've been on here. What's going on, brother?
Sure
It has been quite a while since since I've spoken with PDX.
Yeah, and honestly,
a really long while.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if he's been on since you took hiatus or not. And
I don't know. I mean, when my hiatus was a long time ago. Like
yeah.
I don't think I've been on live stream since June.
Yeah, right around there.
So,
You've been through the ringer, huh, PDX?
It's been a while.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat here.
No, well, that's what I'm looking at here. I've got 2 screens going. So, I've got the chat over here, and I've got the thing.
That's funny you mentioned that, Christy. I've got some old guitar hangers, and it turns out that both my AR and my shotgun fit in those nicely. So, like, they're like hanging on my walls. And then, of course, I always keep my pistol like within hand's reach. But yeah, got them hanging up. That's good.
Matt, kiss my ass socialist. Yeah, it's been a while. I actually asked about you a couple weeks ago. I'm actually flattered you remembered me. I thought everybody would have forgotten about me by now.
Oh no, guaranteed not. Actually, Matt and I come on here. Have you met Nikki? I know Gray has. I don't know if you
have. I met Nikki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's been so long. It's like, it's hard. It gets hard for me to remember who else talked to whoever. But yes, that is Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat. Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, Miss Mary. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they all remember me. That actually makes me feel pretty warm and fuzzy inside. So, no, I really appreciate you guys remembered me.
Swipe this guitar stand for his crossbow. That's a good one, Christy.
Matt, kiss my ass socialist is asking where Nikki is.
Where's she at? Yeah, I can invite her. Let me see what she's up to. 5 minutes.
Warsaw Patriot. Yes, it has been a long time. So, and it's actually really quite nice to meet you as Cheshire Cat, the person, rather than Cheshire Cat, the cat filing its nails avatar. So.
Hey, Ron, you didn't answer the question. How good are you at opening these?
Well, the last one I used, like I said, it was like 10 years old, and it was plastic with a string and an arrow that had a suction cup on the end of it.
They never killed nothing with it?
What's that?
They never killed nothing with it then?
No, not with a bow. I haven't killed anything with a bow.
Ought to try it sometime. Sometimes you got to use a knife to finish the job.
Yeah, and that's that was something I asked Patriot is because he's going, but it's musket, so muskets you can't just like shoot and then rack it and you're good to go. So
So it depends on the setup.
yeah.
Usually it takes a little longer, and you got to calculate your shots better. But boy, they pack a wallop.
Yeah, he's shooting what did he say, 50 caliber rounds through his, which he showed me. I mean, that's a pretty big wad.
I shoot 57 caliber out of my own homebrew.
Do what now?
I shoot 57 caliber out of my own homebrew.
Yeah, that definitely leave a hole.
Oh yeah, especially at 200 grains.
I was gonna say, does that how much of the meat does that ruin when you hit them? Like, say you hit them in the chest by their heart, how much meat really gets ruined on that?
Not a whole lot.
Okay, hold on, just passing through. Got a riddle. Warsaw, yeah, you can go ahead and you can post an article and I'll pull it up here in a minute. Riddle for you. Who changed their name but is someone you know? Just passing through, I'm going to guess it's probably you because you've already got a wrench on this channel and I don't recognize your name. But if you've got a wrench, that means that you're obviously trusted. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me pull this up really quick here. Okay. Oh, what do we got here? The Independent. Oh, okay. Oh, about the the Navy SEAL cover up of Osama bin Laden. Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Hey,
know.
A Dangerous Freedom, PDX is asking if we have room for one more. I say yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Send him a link.
Hold on. Still trying to pull up the article. But yeah, I heard about that. That the government covered up the Osama bin Laden raid, and apparently a lot of SEAL team members died, especially the ones that knew it was all a hoax. So I don't know that one. I don't know enough about the whole story.
Oh, I don't deal with ball rounds. I deal with rifled barrels, and I deal with Minier rounds. Minier bullets are better than ball. Besides, can't really beat a fucking muzzle load 57 caliber with Miniers. That's a rifled barrel.
Oh no! What do we got here? Oh, we got an Antifa guy on here.
I'm not Antifa.
I know. Fucking with you, dude.
How's everybody doing?
It's been a long time.
I know. I was in Seattle.
Oh
wait,
no!
Wait. So if you were in Seattle, where are you now?
What's that?
I said, if you were in Seattle, where are you now?
Back at my dad's. Yeah.
I guess so. So long as you're not in Seattle anymore, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. A lot better. It was kind of a trip. I had to go there. I had to see for myself what's going on, what's it all about, get ahead of the propaganda and politicalness. Mm-hmm. And I infiltrated a lot of the Antifa group.
What did you find out?
I found out a lot of stuff, how they're operating. I've written like the ways that they are, you know.
Hmm.
So I mean, I kind of have my own documentation, but for myself, it's easy to explain because you know, in a way, you have to kind of like have your like hands-on experience and see it for yourself. But I mean, I could talk about it, but could have like a long discussion. But yeah, they're definitely not for free thinking and not for being able to, express yourself
I think
truly.
we all got time.
So
They
they're
think,
much like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So why not enlighten us a little bit?
yeah. This lamp is kind of
Oh, Ash.
really bright. Sorry about the lighting.
That's a good way to hide your name. How have you been, Ashley? It's good to see you. Survival living. What's going on? Central Florida prepper. I caught your video earlier, dude. Yeah, we go through a lot of mac and cheese here too. No,
Yeah,
so I was
haircut.
going to ask you. So, like, how well funded are these Antifa people? I mean, this ain't just grassroots, right? They're fun. They're like professionally funded, right?
Yeah, they have like outsourcing stuff that they bring in the resources when they're about to go to a next phase for propaganda. So they do these things in phases with their groups. So I mean, I'm gonna go by what I've written down. So I'm not exactly knowing if this will resonate uh, straight for you guys, but hopefully it does. But I call this is my memento, for this whole thing. What they do is they profess propaganda through indoctrination as a form of presumptive woke direction as a way for instant gratification that conflicts with the message getting lost. So they're leading people into like their own destruction, and they're just using people as pawns,
So
basically.
it's kind of why they provide a lot of those cities that are, well, I guess taken over politically. It's why they provide needles and places for people to shoot up and all these. Basically, the city promotes and supports self-destructive behavior.
It leaves a
Yeah,
nice little power
yeah,
space.
that is one thing that I've noticed as well in the cities is that they have more help for people that are drug addicts than people are actually like homeless and aren't a user or whatever, or like
Right.
people that are actually just like are trying to be a good person in society. They don't actually have resources for that kind of help.
So
For
they don't have resources to actually make people well, but they will keep them sick and enable them to stay sick.
Yeah, for the most part, that's what I tend to notice living where I live, and you know, uh, seeing Seattle and other areas. I've been to California too, and worse down there, but everywhere on the West Coast it's kind of crappy. I've got a lot more here if you guys want to listen.
We would love to hear it.
I mean,
Please.
unless because I don't want to like be like if you guys have something else to talk about, I don't want to like.
No, dude, I'm curious to hear it too because I haven't
No.
been there. Hello, Broken Patriot Vaughn. Glad you're here.
And I'm all about preparing and having a prepared mind. I watch the Prepared Mind a lot. It's a good channel. Um, so what they do like to do is they're very stereotypical and condemning all white males as sexist, racist, wife beating homewreckers. That is kind of the direction they go towards, how they actually like condemn people. That's usually it with the Antifas, and they act like white privilege is an actual thing, which it isn't. White privilege, it doesn't actually exist. It's just rich
No, it doesn't.
people, poor people. That's really all it is.
Well, I mean, I can buy into the idea of wealth privilege. Like a person who's wealthy is going to definitely have more opportunities than somebody who isn't. However, the reason why they're going with the race privilege and the gender privilege and all these kinds of things is because when the Soviets first began to infiltrate the American system, they tried to do it through class, like they did it successfully in the Soviet. But it failed in the United States, and it was because the United States had a thriving middle class. Now, what they've been doing, over a number of years, if you've noticed it, is that they've been outsourcing a lot of middle class jobs because they've been trying to destroy the middle class. But it still wasn't happening fast enough, and it wasn't effective enough. So the fissures that they found, the biggest cracks in our society, were, of course, race relations, gender relations, relationships between ethnicities, because there's such a different plethora of different people here in the United States. So those were the cracks in our society that they were willing to successfully play off of. The differences between men and women and the battle of the sexes, that's another crack that they've been able to play off of. And it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Gender and identitarianism.
Basically, identity politics won over the idea. Identity politics won over the idea of the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie. But I mean, if you take a look at the notion of white privilege, that's your bourgeoisie. And then everybody else is considered the proletariat. But they're all just being used as a means to an end.
Yeah.
You want a bigger thing?
Yeah, I agree.
Contrast?
But I don't think our country was ever founded on that. I think it was actually founded on the fact that we were trying to escape slavery and taxes and stuff from the British, and that we were actually looking for an actual resolve.
Well, so what's the difference between the crown taking care of the people and some big daddy government taking care of the people? And what's really interesting is whenever I hear about feminists talking about how the constitutional republic that we live in now is a patriarchy, but they're seeking to replace it with this big daddy government. And the more that I look at a communist government, the more to me it looks like an abusive marriage. I mean, okay.
Yep.
I have this. What's really interesting in what has happened in our government is that our government has literally been taken over by malignant psychopathic narcissists. And there's somebody I've been following who's an expert on this kind of notion. His name is Sam Beckman. And this guy's a narcissistic psychopath, by the way. But he talks about narcissistic psychopathy. And he mentioned a similar thing that our government has been taken over by these, what he calls narcopaths. And now let's go ahead and break this down into a microcosm, a marriage. So let's say down the line, I get married to a man. Okay. And this man says, I'll take care of you and you don't ever have to work. And, I'll take care of all your needs and all of this stuff. But then what he slowly does is he chokes my ability to be independent and to support myself. And then as soon as he starts to strangulate all of my avenues of escape through financial means, by severing or interfering with my relationships with my close friends and family so I don't have a support network other than him. And then he slowly, completely takes over my life and the abuse starts. It can be sexual abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse. If you take a look at that abusive dynamic that women escape every day, the communist government is much like that. They are trying to install a government that is promising, you won't have to work anymore. We'll take care of you. You don't need to worry about anything because we will provide everything for everybody. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what I'm putting-
you don't need your family. You don't need your faith because we're going to be there. And so what they're doing is, and now they're like, well, now you got to wear mask mandates. You can't relate with anybody. You can't trust anybody because you can't read them. You can't connect with them. They know this. So they are slowly but surely trying to wedge us each other so we don't support or trust each other. But then they also want to take control of our ability to live independently. So they want to, strip our abilities to earn for ourselves and tax the shit out of us and then put us on a universal basic income. And the way that they're going to definitely take control of our finances is via cashless. So eventually all they need to do if we get out of line is cut off our access to our resources.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
So
the
this looks like a basically it's just interesting to listen to feminists talk about the constitutional republic being a patriarchy, but then they're simultaneously fighting for a communist patriarchy. Or what actually, and by the way, it doesn't even have to be a patriarchy. A woman could do this to a man easily. If a woman who had the money, she could take a hold of a guy and be like, hey, you don't have to work again. All you got to do is just trust me. I'll take care of you. And then cut off all of his access to resources and institutionalize him and make him dependent on her so he can abuse. So that the relationship is not necessarily, men who do it, or, you know what I mean? Women could definitely, the dynamic is there.
Bring that up though, because they do. They use the law against men all the time, and they corner men into situations where they don't feel comfortable. That happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens a lot.
I have a lot more about in here as well if you want more, unless you want to continue on.
Mind I don't repeat myself.
God says a woman's place is in the home. Unless the man can't work, how are you going to bring the bread home? The woman is able-bodied. That was what changed everything in the United States. It was that dynamic after World War II. Unfortunately, life isn't perfect.
And I don't necessarily have an issue with women going out making more money than men. I mean, sometimes women are just smarter than men, and they're better at the job than men.
Well, there's very little different. Well, the differences between men and women are, there's definitely some psychological differences. We are definitely programmed to think a little bit differently, but at the same time, there's very little difference in cognitive ability. So you have high IQ men and high IQ women. So, but the biggest differences are physical.
Yeah, I think we're all just human anyway. Mm-hmm. Like that's just what I've gained from all of this BS. Like this whole like racism, like going against who I am, like from the BLM, because they're saying that their life needs to matter, and it's like that it never mattered or whatever. But they have free speech, and like it's so obvious that they're like just riding on propaganda, and it's like Marxist stuff.
Well, what they're doing is they are playing on people's insecurities. You know what I mean? What they're doing is they're taking these people, and by the way, a lot of us have had rough lives. I don't really know a whole lot of people who haven't struggled in some way or another, or experienced emotional pain or loss or heartbreak, in some capacity or another. Family, toxic family dynamics are extremely, extremely common. And so what these people are doing is they're taking these people who are broken, depressed, and see no way out, and they're saying that, if you follow this, I'll make your life all better again.
Yeah, and and what I'm seeing in the chat is like kind of it goes back to the old saying, strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men. And we're in those final two stages because now we're starting to separate the weak from the strong. And and they say men, but it can be women too. Absolutely, it can be women. We're just starting to see who's weak and who's strong, and who's going to buy into this daddy government idea and who's not. Me, I've worked all my life, and I'm not about to let the government try and come in and tell me what to do, how to do it. I mean, that's part of being an American, is our own individual rights.
Really on?
Yeah, I agree. The Constitution's, I'm so grateful for it. Like, it is literally a living document. It speaks for itself, and there's no law that should surpass what the Constitution states, and that's what the politicians want.
I'm a constitutionalist through and through.
Yeah.
The Constitution. Yeah, the Constitution is actually, and by the way, there were struggles in the past about, and by the way, what is racism and what is sexism or any of the other isms? There's countless of them. What is it really? It's a denial of sentience for one reason or another, right?
Give me a perfect nation, because I don't see one, because we're like every nation has struggled.
There's never going to be a perfect nation because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Human beings we're not perfect.
It's either we like move on or we're just stagnant. And some people want to be stagnant and want to, feel like history, because like they want a time machine basically. And that's just simply not going to happen.
Well, what they want is they want somebody to come in and fix their lives, but they don't understand that it doesn't work that way.
Nope. You got to fix your own.
You have to fix your own life. And it's not an easy thing to do. It requires looking at really awful aspects of yourself. It requires, making admissions to I mean, I guess if you really want to get to the gritty of it, it's admitting your sins, your imperfections.
That could be the hardest step.
And by the way, it's not even a matter of that God hates you or rejects you for your sin. Most of us can't forgive ourselves. And therefore, we can't be forgiven by the man upstairs, because if we're an aspect of the man upstairs and we can't forgive ourselves, we can't be forgiven.
And that's one of the things, is how do we live as sinners? How do we live this balanced life? And it's not actually entirely easy.
Have you ever read Carl Jung?
I have not read that, no.
Carl Jung had a really interesting insight into the human psyche, and he describes us as dual beings. So we're basically good and evil wrapped up in one consciousness. But what happens is in our formative years, as we're being socially conditioned, that when we're taught what's good or bad, it's often done through shame. And instead of actually making us good people and making us learn right or wrong for the sake of knowing just what's right and what's wrong and developing empathy, we split. We relegate it into an unconscious part of our mind called the shadow. And that is where those split aspects of ourselves that we're ashamed of reside, and they wreak havoc without us having any control over it. So his theory was that we have to do shadow work. So what we have to do is we have to dig into our really deep into our psyche. We have to look at the things that hurt us, and instead of just being like, it hurts me, it's not fair, that person who hurt me is bad, you have to look at why you felt hurt. Because usually when you feel hurt by something or someone, it's because it's actually pinging some kind of deep down shame or belief about yourself. Like let's say there's a girl you fancy, or a friend of yours doesn't want to talk to you. Your shadow would basically be telling you it's because you're defective, it's because you're not good enough, it's because nobody loves you, nobody likes you, and you're not worth being liked. So basically what you would start doing if you weren't aware of that shadow aspect or that shame that you carried is you would actually start carrying that shadow aspect and shame into future friendships and relationships in the future. So you would start to project that pain onto others in order to not experience it, instead of just going within yourself and figuring out where it came from. Usually you can trace it back to where you felt rejected or you felt pushed away by a primary caregiver. And that's where they say that it has to do with childhood trauma that creates these shadows. But of course, shadows are also created as you live. Rejection from teachers, rejection from peers, rejections from love interests, just various things that can play into your shadow and cause you to. And then another thing that can happen from unresolved shadows is you can develop addictions in order to try to numb that pain, because it's just simply too hard to bear it and too hard to look at it. So
I
look at
agree.
Carl
Like
Jung.
that is something that I've struggled with, and also like having like kind of like I'd have like okay, so like I struggle with hearing like voices in a way, but not like so that shadow thing you're talking about, like that is something that is kind of like post-traumatic stress. And like
Post-traumatic stress is something else. Post-traumatic stress happens. It happens when you face something that's just utterly evil, and it usually has the possibility of being life-threatening. That is what causes post-traumatic stress. So
yeah, I think I have a
let's
lot of
say,
that, especially in 2020.
I think a lot of people have got PTSD from the political situation that's going on. I mean, I definitely,
If you
when I
don't
came
have
back from
PTSD from
California in
2020, I don't know what's
2017, I
wrong
had
with you.
PTSD from seeing the political situation down there. And it was something that I definitely have had to work through.
Yeah. So I have a lot more on here. The selfish, over-exaggerate, driven contention of victim entitlement and mentality. Frame each space in ways of confiding your energy through guilt and shame. Project poison, sympathy, and ridiculement. Language barrier culture, cancel culture pusher, subliminal suggestion, optimal, optical delusion of grandeur, worth beholden to vanity, and shut off critical, righteous decision making. That's what they intend to like do to us, is to shut off our critical decision making.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, and what
and
they'll do is they'll do just like in Maoist, what they did with Maoist China is they will kill the ones who can't be manipulated.
and part of that, I mean, they start in school doing this.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's why they're starting it early. Yeah.
a lot of the burden lies on the parents. So if the parents don't have any kind of base or background or solidity in their life to teach their own children, the schools ain't going to do it for them. Then the schools are going to do exactly like you said and turn them into victims. And you'd be like, oh, government's here to help you. It's like, if you actually study our history, government has that's their job, is to help us, but it's not to babysit us. It's to just protect our borders, and what's the word I'm looking for here? Keep up the nation's prosperity. But what they're doing now is they're putting so many damn regulations on people that are trying to start new businesses. They're spending more money on these permits and taxes that they can't even really get off the ground. Some of these small businesses, it's ridiculous. And that's they've gone from being the help or being the protector to being the problem.
Yeah, they want to condition our minds and shut us off one by one. That way we're subject to the propaganda, and they could use us as pawns against each other.
Gray,
That's what I see it.
you got any input on that?
You couldn't hear it anyway.
I gotta say that hat looks cool, man. Cool.
I know, he's just like,
So another thing is there's no sense of solution to redesign leadership of hearts and minds, a general assembly of moment analysis to discuss ways of pressure to dwindle and create systematical condemnation of political
So,
prisoners of the choosing.
you know my policy, Ron. I don't repeat myself. I've already
Yeah.
spoken.
All right. You want to hear more? I'll continue. I probably should wait for Cheshire Cat to get back. But I have a lot in here.
and this
No.
is all what you picked up from the Antifa folk?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I had to like figure this out because I don't want to be just mindless. You know, I want to see things up close for what it is, and then
You know,
see where the direction is going.
that can be kind of dangerous. I mean, I appreciate what you're doing, trying to go into the enemy's camp, you know, to get your own intel. But you know, dude, if you get doxxed, you could be a statistic, man.
I know the risk, but like that's one of the things. Like I will not fear. You know, I know when I tread lightly, and I know exactly. I mean, I didn't entirely know exactly what I was getting myself into, but I felt like I had a way to kind of do what I could to bring more awareness to not only to myself but to the public and people, because people need to be aware of what's being cooked, you know.
I wouldn't bother.
I mean, I think I feel something for some of these people because it's not their fault that they were born in an area where, you know, they were being indoctrinated, and you know, some people, you know, like in the school systems, and parents not always having the time or whatever. I don't know. I feel something in there.
They'll feel
So, I
nothing
mean,
for you
what's
when
that?
it comes. I said, if it comes time to put you in a gulag, they'll feel nothing for you.
Oh, I know, but
So just be careful.
yeah, and I feel pretty safe. You know,
Oh.
I feel safe with when I took, you know, Christ as Lord, because I do not live for this world. And I know that God is real, and his angels watch, you know, his angels are real too.
Yeah, but he also leaves it up to us. You know, God helps those who help themselves. That's like this song I heard, "God, we need you now." There's a line in there. He's all like, you know, I kneel for my God, so I'm dying on my feet. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and that's why I felt I had to get ahead of this thing, because the risk is worth more than.
Bible that's from?
What was that, Gray?
Which verse?
Like I said, I don't repeat myself.
I'm asking which verse.
Check out the book of James. Before that, check out the book of Matthew.
Matthew's good.
After you check out both of those, check out the book of John, 1 John.
John the Baptist, right?
Just the book of John. There's 2 of them. Try the first. But after.
But yeah,
Yeah,
a lot
John.
of
Yeah, the Gospel of John is my favorite, actually, out of the Bible. It always has been.
yeah,
Pull it up and read it.
I love all of the Bible as a whole.
I'm working on
Deuteronomy and Romans are also nice.
it.
God tried to warn us of the condemnation of fallen man.
Ecclesiastes is nice to companion with Romans.
Come on. Jeez.
Ecclesiastes is just full of good advice.
Check this out. I don't know if you can see it. I'll bring it closer. Can you read that? I don't know. So if you want to be a lion, train with lions. I believe
It's a good one. That's a good one.
advice.
sharpens iron.
Just passing through has some insightful advice.
Yeah. And you know what? You're right. It's not technically in the Bible, but it's a good way to live.
So just passing through wants y'all to know that the Lord helps those who help themselves isn't a verse in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
It's just a good quote.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
when we
actually,
pray, we feel the Spirit of God through the Holy Ghost. When we pray, so we know the presence of God for ourselves, you know, and that is something nobody can ever take away. So it all comes down to the relationship you have with God
Mm-hmm.
and the questions you pray for, and God will show you the way.
I mean, technically, I live pretty damn poor, you know, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need $15 million to be happy. You know, in fact, $15 million, you know what I'd do? I'd probably put most of it down on a, 10,000 acres, build up a bunch of build up a bunch of houses and start my own camp, and my own camp. You know, have my own farm, have my own ranch. I would love to see that. That would be awesome for me. I wish we had enough money. I could just go out and move to an area out of the way, take my kids with me, take my family, and whatever friends want to come. That would be awesome. And then we'd have our own shooting range and practice ranges, and of course all that. Lots of ammo, lots of guns.
just passing through knows a thing or two.
I know them well. I think you would like them. Right.
Yeah, I'm reading the comment section too.
Book of Noah. No, but I can imagine. Like God speaks to me and says, "Oh, you need to build this ark. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge."
Yeah, that's
Dangerous
another.
Freedom Commune.
Yeah, there we go. And it would be dangerous freedom. I mean, I believe in that. I mean, because true freedom is not like it's a solid way to live, but it's not always secure. You don't have people. You have to protect your own. God, I don't know. I don't know if that's even making sense. when I chose the term dangerous freedom, it's because every time we leave our house, we're taking a chance. In some places more than others, like in Seattle, Portland, areas like that, you take a big chance. I mean, I've seen these people like literally pull guns on trucks and cars driving by.
There
And
was a person in Portland that got shot, and that's just one of the risks just living in these areas anyway. So, and it's really sad when I heard about that because I actually knew that guy.
really,
Yeah, I
You
actually
knew
knew
the
him.
guy who got shot?
Mm-hmm. His name was Jay,
mhm.
and yeah, I actually knew him. I didn't know him all that well, but I knew him. He was a great guy. It was
And
sad. He didn't deserve that. He didn't do anything to deserve that.
did they ever catch the shooter?
Yeah,
They
they
did,
killed
didn't they? They
the
they
mar
hunted the
yeah, the marshals. They shot
Oh,
him dead.
that's the one the marshals executed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's good. That's one less criminal that we're paying taxes on. I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
that's sick. These people are like completely sick when they do stuff like that.
I heard there was another one in Denver. What a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Um, just basically shot a guy because he was coming from like a Trump rally or a Patriot Prayer. I think it was Patriot Prayer. He was leaving one of their groups and walking alone, and somebody targeted him and put him out. And but we get these kids like Kyle Rittenhouse out there, helping to try and clean up the city, and
Yeah,
gets chased down and shot at by these people. And I did hear that the original shooter, the guy that first shot at him, they caught him and charged him too. I don't know what's going to come out of that, but I mean, this kid was defending his own life, and like I can't imagine any court could watch all the video footage they have of that and say that he was not totally in his right to protect his life like he did.
yeah, he definitely defended himself. I watched it too. He was getting pummeled.
Yeah, kicked, smacked with a skateboard.
I
One guy had
mean,
a gun on him.
what was he gonna do? Like, let him beat the crap out of him, take his weapon from him?
They tried. They tried a couple times. Yeah, and after that second time, well, maybe it was the first time, but as soon as they tried to grab that rifle, he turned around, shot the motherfucker.
You got to be really deranged and dumb to try and like go after someone barehanded when they have a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, that is sheer ignorance.
Well, it's the same with cops. When they deal with a guy with a knife, they'll try tasing him first, which honestly, after all the times of trying to tase people, it doesn't work. I don't know why they even try it. That's why I don't even bother with a less lethal. I just carry a gun. If those hairs on the back of my neck stand up, my gun is coming out. Just saying.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah. I mean, everyone should have a right to defend themselves. It doesn't matter what your political belief is.
yeah, do you know how upset my kids would be if we were in a state where I couldn't carry a gun and somebody with a gun that was a criminal came up and shot me and killed me, and then my kids have to grow up without a father? Dude, that would
Yeah.
devastate my family. And I'm just glad I live in a state where I don't have to worry about that. But there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah, and I mean, it depends on how big this thing gets, though, because if they keep, like creating more indoctrination, making people into like, because I feel like a lot of these people, they're like being pushed to do these things. They're
Hmm.
being pressured and pushed. That's what I've come to see.
I think you're right too. There's it's like whenever you see the puppet masters, their hands controlling the strings. Yeah, dude, I guarantee they're out there. but they're people that we don't always know their name. A lot of people use like George Soros or somebody like that, but
Yeah.
the ones that are, are above George Soros, we don't know their names.
Well, it's China and Joe Biden and Hunter and stuff like that.
Well, Hunter's just a crackhead, so I'm not too worried about him. I
Well,
think the worst
he
thing
has a
about
lot
him,
of money. That's one thing though, and he has like $1 billion, and I'm pretty certain he's connected to some things.
oh yeah,
We'll just have to see what comes out. I see that Rudy Giuliani's opening
yeah,
up his case, like
yeah,
cracking it right open, because he turned in his laptop. Like, it was so stupid.
I know, right? No, I saw part of that on was that Steven Crowder? Yeah,
It's like he got careless and like he doesn't care that he gets caught.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's what even the guy at the computer store. It's like, okay, you can bring it in, and we'll have it ready for you in 2 days. And then he never went back and claimed his property. And then finally, after all this stuff started to come out, he's like, wait a second, that's the same guy that brought this laptop in. He starts looking at the laptop like, holy crap, I don't want this. And then I guess
Yeah,
that's when he sent it to Rudy.
after figuring out it's linked to like a whole bunch of criminal activity.
Well, the apple
Don't
doesn't
blame
fall far from the tree.
him.
Just saying.
Yeah. So I'm hoping 2021 goes well. I already voted Trump. I already put in my ballot. I was so happy. I felt so patriotic when I put that in. I'm just hoping, because here in Oregon, like, they don't have a place where you actually are able to go in and do it. So it's all mail in. And I'm hoping that my vote actually counts or something.
I
'Cause I
believe
think
there's a website where you can actually go back and make sure that your vote was counted.
yeah, I'm hoping. But I've noticed that in Ilhan Omar's district, they were doing a bunch of ballot harvesting, like people getting paid for their vote to go a certain way. And that's just,
Oh yeah.
Hey, PDX, I have a question for you.
what's
Are
up?
you familiar with Redneck Revolt?
I've I know they're attached to Antifa, but I'm not part of that now.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah, I am familiar.
Did you run into anybody when you were out there from Redneck Revolt?
It's hard to say because no one actually like identifies themselves. It's more like things just kind of go like kind of in a like on the fly type thing when things happen. They have circles inside of circles, like it's hard to know where you actually even stand in anything. And I think that's how they use people, because they don't want people to not feel like they're actually able to know how they're being used.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad. I feel bad because like they're not aware,
Right.
Yeah, and that seems to be a trend, especially with the younger group. It seems like the older and the younger groups are the ones that are falling into the whole CNN liberal bias. Because I come from a family of conservatives, and even my mom's next door neighbor, totally, all she does is watch CNN. And my mom goes over and has coffee and has a couple cigarettes with her, and she's just like bashing Trump the whole time. And my mom's like, "You're just," she's like 80 some years old. And then as for the kids, at least my kids, I mean, You know, of course they're Republican, they're conservative, I should say. I mean, I guess, you know, if we had a president that was ran as a Democrat that actually valued our constitution like they used to, um, and some of them still do, but unless that happens, you know, we're gonna just try and pick the best of the best of the two evils, I guess, is what we say.
Yeah. Yeah. I've kind of like, so I've just kind of like, I used to lean more to the left because I like the freedom of, like smoking weed and stuff like that. I like smoking weed. But I don't know. I used to lean over there, but then I realized like it's all like crazy right now. So I choose to kind of just be a little bit more independent, but I lean obviously more to the right now
Hmm.
because, uh, you know, like the conservative Republican Party is the American party. That's where America is going to prosper, and that's what's left of where I live, and I love where I live. I'm always going to love my country regardless of, like what people think of me and where I'm at in anything, because this is where I was born and raised. And, you know,
Well, I get that. I mean, you know, I'm kind of on the same lines. Like where I'm at now, I've basically been living here for over 35, actually, yeah, over 35 years I've lived in this area. I mean, I know my 10-mile radius, I know my 20-mile radius from around here. And granted, you know, it's in the middle of the damn desert. It gets super hot here. As far as like a bug out spot, probably not the most ideal, but we do have water sources. We do have orchards. We have crops. We have plenty of cattle. So, I mean, it's not like we don't have resources down here. It's just during the middle of summer, you know, you're dealing with 115, 120-degree temps. And if we, say, a grid down happened, we didn't have AC, a lot of people would probably die.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's definitely nice down where you're at probably right now because
oh,
getting winter time.
oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I run the AC for a few hours during the day, and then at night I just like turn a fan on, crack a window. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's been getting a lot colder lately, and it's definitely would be a lot better to be in those areas during winter time. You probably have a lot better.
well, I could probably do the snow. The only problem is my body is so acclimated to the heat. As you know, if I moved to like a cold area and had to go through the first winter, you know, I'd be freezing my ass off, and like this is miserable. I hate this. You know, it'd take me a while to get my body acclimated to the colder climates.
Yeah.
Hey, there he's back.
His mic is muted. Your mic is muted, Gray.
He don't care.
So I have more in here. I have a lot more if you guys want to hear more.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, because this is just like going on the direction, presentation of twisted misfortune that condemns themselves as unrelatable based on race and victim think. So they feel like they've been cheated, and that no matter what, that no one can relate, because they want people to feel like you got to feel like what it's like to be in their shoes, and the truth of it is you can never know what it's like to be in another person's shoes.
No, and you don't know what's going on in their head either, and that right there is the big part of it.
Yeah.
More reliable. You have a good night, brother. Thanks for hanging.
Limit or shut down any voice that conflicts with the narrative without any sort of reasonable debate, response, of giving a word in edgewise, no rational conversation. Over representing abuses of power to the interests of the self-righteous, worship of the foreign uncommunicable, and claim to not know anything or presumptive judgment. Straw man to smear conflicting narratives, to demoralize and inflict confusion, projection of problems into others in pressured manners that overextend personal boundaries. A lot more.
Yeah, do you see that question that down in the bottom there?
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually in a group with a guy that was in the Marine Corps when I was in the autonomous zone, and I kind of figured he was doing his own sort of things.
Reconnaissance.
Everyone there kind of has something going on, you know. Like, there's a lot of people that are trying to pull politics a certain way and influence things a certain way, whether it's the left or the right. Everyone's there for agenda. Everyone's doing things for agendas. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. A lot of people, they just want to live their lives, and that's usually where conservatives stand, is like, we just want to be left alone, want to live our lives, don't want to actually have to deal with this, but when the time comes, we will deal with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because, like, our rights are very precious. Like, if you're going to go against rights of anybody, because like a violation of anybody's rights is a violation of rights, period, you know?
Everybody's, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that these guys are, well, they call everything white supremacy. And it's actually been really baffling because they call Latinos white supremacists. They call African Americans white supremacists. Have any of you kind of thought maybe of what they're talking about from a spiritual standpoint?
Well, they're trying to throw people off when they say
no. It's because this is a spiritual battle of light versus dark. Whenever you hear about people having died or having an near-death experience and they go to heaven, or what kind of light do they typically talk about encountering? A white light, right? The white light of God.
Yeah, it is more directed towards white people, but the thing is they do.
But it's ideological, because they're saying that there's certain ideas that are white supremacist.
Yeah,
right?
But when they're talking about the Proud Boys and they're calling the Proud Boys white supremacists.
Yeah, but the Proud Boys are of all races.
Exactly, and that's why.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm getting at is, this is how they justify calling all these different people who aren't even white supremacists, because it has to do with the glimmer of your soul, the white pure light of God. And what they call black is really the absence of light. So what they're saying is white supremacy is the white pure godly light of God. And that's how they justify calling people of all kinds of different races white supremacists. And it's because basically what their soul shines.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought of that?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like I said, man, it's definitely a spiritual battle. A lot of people, though, and that's part of the problem, though, is so many Americans, they've been pushed away from God. Like, they're trying to take them away from the schools and everything else, and then they're introducing Muslim faith, which honestly, I don't necessarily have an issue with the Muslim faith.
Basically, what Islam is and what there is installed in the Middle East is basically theocratic communism.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting is when they talk about us, the constitutionalists, being right wing, and we want freedom for all religions. Mm-hmm. But right wing is really theocratic communism. It's a theocracy, is what right wing is. Left wing is, of course, communism and secular totalitarianism.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely a spiritual battle. Like, they're definitely possessed by a demon.
Well,
Trying
they're an
to
absence of
control.
light and absence of truth.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these people that are, remember when I talked about shadow and how it acts out unconsciously or with malice? A lot of these people have some incredible shadows. Very few of them are really well aware of the malevolence that they are harboring. And that's, of course, where the verse in the Bible does come from, forgive them for they know not what they do. And those are people who are completely tricked and lied to and controlled by shadow.
Exactly. Yeah. Very well. Very well put. Yep.
Lone Star Preps in the comment section asks a question: how many of them had college degrees? And honestly, like, even if, like, because the colleges are liberal indoctrinated anyway, so like it's not like the education actually helps anything, you know. But I don't know. I believe some of them, they have education in that, but I don't, like, they're obviously like have agenda, and probably buried in debt and are frustrated. There's like a lot of other frustration, but I think they put it all into this agenda.
Well, that's what they're playing off of. They're basically coming in, they're exacerbating people's anger and their frustrations. And then they're coming in and saying, we'll fix it if you give us your autonomy.
But they create more problems because they want to keep their flow of indoctrination.
Well, it's like an abusive, controlling relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that person that comes in and says, hey, I'll pay all your bills and you don't need to worry financially. And
well, I mean,
you'll never need to work again. I'll take care of you. And then they completely chip away at you until there's nothing of you left.
On that same note, Cheshire, a lot of these organizations also pay for these people's bail. Like when the cops do go in and do their job, they'll be like, don't worry about it. We'll get you out of jail. And then, they'll put them up in a motel and give them free food. I mean, dude, the funding behind this group, it's almost insurmountable. I don't know where it's coming from. I wish that our government would find out where this insurrection, all this money for this insurrection is coming from, and just put a stop to it. But chances are half of it's coming from our government.
Yeah, you'd be surprised on what our government has done. Like,
I wouldn't.
Like this.
You're talking dangerous freedom.
The deep state goes far back. Like, I'm hearing it goes before JFK. And that's the reason why JFK got shot. It's because he was exposing some of the deep state. And that, like, is, like, should wake people up. Like,
and you got a good point. It should wake people up, but people, well, they are waking up. Actually, to be honest with you, more and more people are waking up. It's taken a long time, but it is coming around. I don't know if they're waking up to the truth or they're waking up to just, they know this, that to them, it doesn't feel right. And then they know it doesn't feel right. So they're going to try and avoid it and vote away from it, and we don't want that. But then once that pang, falters off and dies down, they might be lulled right back into their false sense of government I call it insecurity, but you know what I'm saying? They might be lulled right back into it. It's like, oh, okay, they're waking up now, and then once it passes, everything goes back to normal, and then people go right back to sleep.
Yeah, that is something that the government does. Like one of their directions is they like to limit the capacity of how much we're like able to process because they want to string us along so much just so we hang ourselves
Well, I mean,
and then we're back into it again.
this whole Hunter Biden thing is kind of a conundrum, or goes to play on that, because I've heard of people trying to post that Hunter Biden video about the corruption, and like Twitter has blocked it from being shared. I think Facebook has blocked it from being shared. Even YouTube, like, has taken down channels because they try and share it.
Yeah, like censorship is way out of control, especially now. Like I've been reading a lot of articles and stuff, and what's coming out is now that we're getting more towards the election, like they're actually like shutting voices down. Like this is real. Like they don't want they don't want like people to actually have genuine human to human compassion or just being able to, share any sort of awareness or help people to be aware of any sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do. I think they do that on the left too, and I've noticed it.
Oh yeah, no, because they know what's best for us. I mean, they're like Cheshire said, they're daddy government. They know what's best for us.
Yeah,
Don't
they
think,
don't.
don't think
Yeah,
for yourself.
we'll think
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, well, that's why we need to teach our children.
Hold on, my Ford. I gotta take a piss.
And it's sad that
Lovely.
you actually have to fight this like person that's like controlling the media, and because we don't know who that is and how much they actually know about our lives, and that's one of the sad things about
Well,
all these platforms, and they know a lot.
well, I mean, if you look at it, what is it? There's like six networks that control like 90% of the information out there. I mean, Disney's part of it. Of course, Google. Um, and yeah, they're gonna try and brainwash as many people as they can. And the sad part is, there's a lot of dumb people out there. No offense to anybody in the chat, because you're actually smarter. Just by being at this stream, you're smarter than that. So, anyways, but yeah, there are a lot of people that are just getting brainwashed and being like, "Oh, this has to be the truth," and it's going to end up biting them in the ass big time.
Yeah. So these are real things that are happening, but I'm not totally convinced on the way things are being operated. I'll be honest. On the right side of politics, I still see little cracks in you know here and there. So I don't I that's why I feel that it's important to be independent and like not to actually pick a party that you belong to,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's how you buy into some of like what it is.
Yeah, you need to vote for the person, not the politics.
Yeah, not the party. And this whole like thing, and truthfully, I I'm grateful that Trump has woke us up to a lot of what's been going on these platforms and the censorship and a lot of the deep state stuff that's been happening over the years, because this has been going on for even before I was born, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just
Oh,
it's a sad
before
reality.
Michael Loa. Yeah, if you tell a lie enough times, it's got to be the truth. Yeah, that's basically what they're working on there. Yeah, it's got to be the truth, and it's working on some people, but like I said, more and more people are waking up every day and realizing, nah, that's not the truth.
Yeah, the thing is we got to really actually see like we got to see the problem, but we also have to live our lives. But we also need to like understand that this is actually a real problem. This is a real like security threat, like that's actually taking place in our country. Unfortunately, there are enemies of the people, and there are like, you know, evil. I mean, I'm not saying like things are ever going to be perfect, or like we live in a perfect world, or we should, but I'm saying that there is a deep level of corruption that is within like our government. And you know, I believe in that there is a swamp, you know, and I think that Trump is actually draining the swamp because he's exposing them. And
That's
he's
probably
gonna
why they want him out of there so bad.
yeah
He-
he's gonna get Hunter, you know, and he's gonna get all this stuff come out. Like he got the flight logs for Epstein's island, you know, and that shows that, you know, because Epstein didn't kill himself, and that there should be an eye opener, you know.
yeah. Both Tennessee Preparedness and my friend Matt put in there, you know, Trump is complicit. Now, I don't necessarily agree on complicit to the deep state. You don't get to be a billionaire twice by being in the light. His inaction on these social issues speaks volumes. And then Matt, his inaction to the deep state is what gets me. And that gets me too. Like, seriously, I mean, he is blowing the crap out of the corruption within the media. And I mean, when he came out and said, "You got the media is the enemy of the people," I mean, I thought that was spot on, and they totally are. They are just telling people what they want them to know, not facts. Not, I mean, so I mean, I get all that. As far as him taking down the deep state, well, look at what the deep state tried to do to him. You know, they've been trying to get him out of office ever since before he was even elected. I mean, our deep state really, like seriously, if I elect me president, dude, I'll tell you what, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to suspend all the bureaucracies, and then we're going to go through them. I'm going to probably do away with TSA. That's a bullshit one. NSA, I'm going to review. FBI is going to be held highly to account for their actions. Yeah, and ATF, adios. You don't belong here. You know what? Screw you. I mean, they're trying to legislate from their own bureaucracy now. You know what I mean? ATF, ever since Trump gave them the power to do that bump stock ban, now they're trying to make AR pistols into short barrel rifles. And I mean, just like seriously, the overreach of these fucking bureaucracies is incredible and bullshit. I would do away with bureaucracies, period.
Unconstitutional. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
totally.
right.
These are unelected individuals out there trying to tell us what we can and can't own, what we should or should not have, how we can use it, what we can do.
They think since when the Second Amendment was formed was when muskets were around,
Yeah.
and they think that that's all people should own is a musket because that's what our founding fathers had thought that they meant for us was only muskets. That's the only thing at that time what was there. You know, the Second Amendment is for anything. You know, you should be able to own whatever it is.
I like what Tigger put out there. The ATF sounds like the start of a good party. I've actually got a shirt that says ATF should be a convenience store, not a government agency. And Tennessee, as far as being complicit, he might be to a certain extent, but I still think he's got the better interest of the U.S. in mind and in heart than definitely Biden or especially Kamala. Oh God, she's a night.
She
That's
is
telling
annoying.
he is
Hey
just
guys,
yeah.
I really hate to break it, but it's getting rather late for me. So I must bid adieu.
I got you. Yeah, we have been on for a while. I'm gonna. Well, all right. Well, you know what? We'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Thanks for having me on.
Cheshire. So, are you gonna start doing videos, or are you gonna make this? Are you gonna come back as a regular thing?
Nope.
Nope. One and
Nope.
done. Maybe once
I mean,
in a while.
I may come back sporadically here and there, but I don't really want to make any promises that I can't keep.
Fair enough. Well, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Gray, I don't know. Maybe he's still on the toilet. I don't know. Oh, there he is.
Nah, I just got back from the pits, or what's up?
We're getting ready to call it a night.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Not to break a record. Huh? I think it'd be hard to break a record, though. I think what, 4 hours?
That was back in the day, though. You know.
I remember that.
Yeah, those 5-hour long streams. Yeah, those were the good old.
Yeah, those they were fun, but yeah.
Thanks for having me on your show, Dangerous Freedom. Thanks for chatting with me, guys. Cheshire Cat, Grey
Yeah.
Wolf, everyone in the chat. Thank you for having me, and hope everyone has a blessed night.
Yes.
You too, PDX. It was
You
good
too,
to see
man.
you.
So, anyways, I guess I'll bid you all adieu. Thank you all very much. Yeah, makes see.
You're looking.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next Saturday, same time. Probably different people, but thank you and take care. And as PDX said, God bless y'all.
Good night, everybody.